How much is that wizard in the window? The one with the wiggly beard. How much is that wizard in the window? I do hope that Watsy's for sale.
Is Hasbro on Watsy for sale? Elon Musk was apparently asking, but was Musk really taking an interest into turning Hasbro into Hashbro? We will discuss this in today's video. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Eugene. And welcome to another episode of
Middle-Aged Barbarians.
Here on Middle-Aged Barbarians, we like to cover a wide range of topics, from tips and tricks on how to run your games, class and monster analysis, media and adventure reviews, and news updates. So whether you're new to the RPG scene or a seasoned player, an aspiring DM in the making, or a jaded veteran like us,
stick around to watch this pair of guys be barbaric and tear your boredom to shreds. Okay, dude, what's up?
All right, I don't know if you remember, if our viewers remember, about 4 months back, we kind of talked about some leaks on the D&D 50th anniversary book.
Yes.
Some notes that were being published on the preface and the forward of the book. Actually, if the editor wants to put a link here or here or here to that other video, thank you, Edgar. So, the leaks had segments that made references on how the original creators of D&D, Gygax, Anderson, and company, were basically a group of racist and misogynistic people.
Well, products of their time, right?
Well, I mean, that's what it was making an illusion. Kind of like saying the stuff that we're including, you got to be careful what you're reading. This is legacy content, and people were different.
Yeah, Brer Rabbit is no longer on theme parks, for instance.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that show. Seem to do that, but
okay. And then I remember at that time, Robert Kuntz, which if I'm not mistaken was part of the Anderson group of development, he became very vocal. He took a stance against Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast for them not reaching out to some members of the legacy.
because
group.
a lot of them are still around, right?
Yeah, many of them are still around, and apparently...
Gygax, sadly, no longer the case, but...
Right, but he's like, well, nobody came out and talked to us. In fact, there's more confirmation and there's been more advancement that he's making his own documentary with another group, which will be interesting to see, because we're probably never going to see the Joe one. Sorry, Joe. And so he wrote out, he lashed out against Hasbro, and I mean, as far as I can remember, other than a little bit of online discontent and noise, I mean, nothing really came of that at that time.
Of course.
This is 4 months ago, so was that like June? Maybe like around June. Flash forward, we are now in November. Oh,
December, actually.
well, we're in December, but in November,
Yeah.
it seems like, again, things are stirring around the book. On November 22nd, there was a post by none other than your friend, Elon Musk, calling out Jason Tondro, Hasbro, and Wizards of the Coast, and I cite directly, go to hell. He's sending them to hell for having published those opinions on Gygax.
That's a very pithy response. Musk's habitual eloquence in display.
So he tells them, basically gives them the middle finger, and then fast forward a couple more days. I mean, this is basically what I kind of see. I don't really like going online that much and reading about this stuff, but sometimes
Drama's interesting.
I mean, if anyone is unaware of who Jason Tondro is, he is currently a senior designer for Dungeons & Dragons and the project lead for the history book. He is considered a D&D historian, and he was in charge of all that. He wrote those the preface and the forward, if I'm not mistaken.
I get you.
So on the 27th of November, just a couple weeks ago, there was a post where a person was asking him if he had foreseen any of the potential blowback from what was written. Now, this is where I kind of, I get a sour taste in my mouth. His answer was that his group had discussed the possibility of reproach or feedback, but not from the group that it came from. They were more focused on, and again I quote, the progressive and underrepresented groups.
Gotcha.
Which has been the focus of the newer editions. He never even thought about the grognards. Honestly, first time I hear that.
It sounds like chuds.
It sounds like a lot of things. It's a term that refers to old soldiers, and it's also a term of
Wargaming.
calling war game players.
Yeah, like chainmail and so forth. Those really old. Before Warhammer 40K took over that space.
But the cherry on top of his reply was at the end where he wrote, "Those people aren't even worth listening to." And that's not a paraphrase. Those are his actual words. The next day, then Musk tweets out, "How much does Hasbro cost?" So then the internet just freaked out again, and I'm reading stuff on both sides. I don't know. What do you think about all this drama, dude?
Oh, well, obviously Musk is just spitballing as usual. And I mean, as you saw, the Twitter deal had to come through because he got roped into it due to some legal maneuvering and so forth. I'm guessing it's not going to happen, but it's an interesting thought experiment. What happens here? What happens if we change the directions for Hasbro?
Now, I've seen like a couple of different arguments. A lot of people surprisingly worried about Transformers.
Oh, it's part of Hasbro, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're worried about Transformers, which I never even gave a second thought to be honest.
No, but yeah, lately they have been more female characters in Transformers. I mean, as female as
a robot can be.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, female, even same-sex relationships between robots, if I'm not mistaken.
What Transformers are you watching, my dude?
No, those are comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole theme with comic books, but as usual, comic books are like a microscopic. I mean, we talked about the producer with that. What's the only really...
Are those like the Vaquero comic books? That you...
Yeah, maybe. Put a Vaquero comic here.
No, don't. We'll get caught.
Well, really censored, but yeah, put it here. No, but what I'm saying is, like the producer said, I mean, if we analyze Hasbro, what's the only thing that actually makes money, Hasbro?
In Hasbro, I think the biggest things... I mean, board games. I don't know if they sell many board games nowadays. No, it's Magic the Gathering, D&D maybe, although...
A little bit. D&D is like kind of less than 10%.
We've seen the tendency and the sales go down, especially in the last couple of years. Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Those legacy things, yeah, basically that's it. Basically the legacy toys that have movies, but even the movies are really old now. I mean, the latest Transformer movie is how old? Like,
it was a couple years ago. And they came out with a cartoon last year.
Well, no.
Well, there was an animation this last year with Optimus Prime and Megatron
and so forth. But I think they didn't go so well. So, yeah, the Empire isn't that big as right now. So maybe Magic is the main thing that's... So, yeah, it's feasible to buy... I'd say that, first of all, for Elon Musk, it would be really feasible to buy Hasbro without...
Could he not buy Hasbro and just buy D&D? But then that's another thing that I see. There's like always, everything is freaking half and half. There's a lot of people saying, yeah, buy it, bring us back into the glory days, and and I'm surprised I haven't seen a "Make D&D Great Again" shirt or something.
I mean,
I haven't seen it yet.
Merch for the show.
Write that down. Make one of those T-shirts.
Merch for the show. Yeah.
What would it be? MDADAGA.
M-20 GA. How about that? M-20.
There. That's
the graphic design.
Yeah, we got
perspective.
Copyrighted right now.
Right now, yeah.
And then the other half is just worried and it's more. I don't know. More terror for us and
from Trump.
I mean, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, but that was what I really wanted to talk about, because in a way, D&D is really, well, not D&D per se, but the whole role-playing hobby is a very punk sort of thing. You can do it yourself.
I mean, punk maybe in the way that it's not
DIY.
For the establishment.
Yeah.
Not. I relate punk to another more aggressive kind of movement. I've always, and we've spoken about this before, D&D has always been for, in my opinion, the marginalized, the outcast, the people who just don't want to fit in the mainstream, and this was a channel to just let it all out.
And to build community, which is also the thing that...
I think the problem is they brought this into the freaking mainstream.
Well, it has been brought, I mean, the culture camp thing that occurs in America and affects all of us.
Yeah, stop making geek mainstream, man. Leave us alone. No, I mean, seriously.
It's too late, bro.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
too
saw
late.
my more how do you call them in English? My more privileged students talk about like Marvel and that sort of stuff, and I was like really astonished because they haven't read a single comic book. But I mean, it's still gatekeeping, and it's still cool, I guess.
Well, I mean, I do smile when I read Hasbro. I think that's stupid, but it's funny. So yeah, I mean, something interesting we were talking to the producer was when he tweeted that, or X'd, I don't know what is the verb of X?
Post
When he posted that post on the posting thing called X,
the everything app.
yeah, the stocks went up for Hasbro, which was interesting.
Yeah, that's his game, man. He's a really good showman, like P.T. Barnum. He's like.
So what's his game?
You're just trolling, I guess. Or maybe he has like, I don't know how many shell companies how he's got. Maybe he's got stock in Hasbro already.
Do you think Joe Manganiello actually talked to him in private and they're trying to back channel to buy so that he can finally make his show?
Maybe. I could see that happening. And they recruit some other right-wing exiled actors. Kevin Sorbo as part of that show.
I used to play with the guy from, was Tom Morello? I don't see Tom Morello being very right-wing.
No, Tom Morello is not right-wing at all.
Yeah, so I wouldn't put him in that camp.
No, I guess not. Joe Manganiello, I don't think he goes. I mean, he actually kind of played like a. You saw him in that Pee Wee movie?
The what?
In the the last Pee Wee Herman movie.
No. When was that?
It was like a couple of years ago, just before the actor died. He played like a sort of. I mean, since Pee Wee's like a child, it's not romantic as kind of adult, but kind of like sort of love story. He becomes like Pee Wee's bro in the movie. It's pretty sweet, but yeah, like I said, it's kind of queer coded, but not per se.
Oh, like the latest Gaston and LeFou?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do I think he's going to buy it?
Nah.
No,
He's not. But it's an interesting conversation. What happens now? Because at the end of the day, you can play D&D as you want. The only people that actually matter is the people in your table.
Well, now there is something I did want to, which is, I mean, not exactly related to this, but it kind of goes hand in hand. We had an interesting comment on one of our previous videos that was a rant, and I mean, it kind of stuck with me. It gave me
Something to think about? Yeah, same.
yeah, just like a strange juju, and I don't get it because I guess I don't know, but it basically there was an exchange between a couple of different people. I didn't get really involved. I just kind of told everybody just we're all one group, we're all one gaming room, which is the way I kind of envision it. And yeah, maybe it's bullshit, but at my table I've played with people of different racial backgrounds, different sexes, people who have changed their sexes, people who when you sit down at the table, you don't give a shit about that stuff. You care about your character, you care about the game, you care about the story, and there's a camaraderie. So, I mean, basically what they were calling out was that, like there's this cultural divide. Like the game has already become way too political, and there's that tribal kind of feel to it. And then like one person making the assertion that he thinks like the other group thinks the other group shouldn't exist. It saddens me, if I'm quite honest. I know you thought you agreed.
Yeah, no, he's pretty much on point. But yeah,
so I'll have him answer you next time. But yeah, making the assertion that we absolutely aren't one group, which.
Well, yeah. I would say the left wing answer, actual left wing, not American left wing. The only group that matters is working class against the oppressors. That's the only actual group, and the table. It's a table in the game.
So are you going to filter the players at your table with their political views?
Well, they probably wouldn't be my friends if they are really, really reactionary, but no, I'm not. As a baseline, no.
But which side is reactionary?
Well, reactionary means...
Right. But so how are you going to know just because they react? Or is it how they react?
No, reactionary means it's like, oh...
Yeah, they're going to give you shit when something happens. But
when something that they don't want happens that's different from what's usually happened.
Right, but everybody has the quality and the possibility of being reactionary.
Yeah, that's not how the world works in political theory context. But basically, yeah, it's whomever doesn't want to go again, who wants to go and preserve the status quo, even if it causes harm. That's the meaning of reactionary. It's like the people that really made a whole fuss about the Black Little Mermaid. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter.
Again, I have a hard time. Maybe it's my ignorance, and we have a friend in common who's way too into this kind of stuff. And I always tell him, I'll speak from ignorance, and I don't care. I'll embrace it. Fuck it.
It's more fun that way.
But why is this about the status quo? Is not the status quo, like you just mentioned a little while ago, if D&D is so punk, then why are we going with the status quo? And if the status quo is normalization of these viewpoints, which is causing all this ruckus, isn't that not punk?
It's trying to establish a new punk. Yeah, it's kind of
8 years ago, there was a catchphrase going around saying conservative is the new punk. Do I agree? No. Do I care? No. But
yeah, exactly. That's a reactionary movement. Taking appropriating the terms from another point of view to change them to that. Like woke. I don't know if you remember, but woke originally was actually a positive thing said by the people in the context of Black Lives Matter and those sort of movements, Me Too and so forth. And now it's become like an insult. That's all of appropriation is the things that sound reactionary, but they're actually not proposing anything. You're just saying it's woke and it's bad because it's woke.
Well,
but what I mean by this punk is, yeah, you can play. I mean, there's Nazi punk, which isn't quite the same ethos. Yeah, you can play your Nazi D&D campaign.
Dead Snow is a good movie.
Oh, sorry, you have to censor Nazi. N-word.
No, that's a little more confusing.
Oh gosh.
No. Anyway, I think we're
You're gonna beat me a lot in this episode.
Nah, we're rambling, but I mean, again, and we talked about this in that rant video. Personally, I'm tired of this shit. And we're going to talk about it because it's something out there.
It's interesting to see the perspectives. But yeah, at the end of the day, what I wanted to say is what matters of the table, what matters of people with such different viewpoints like us is we have more relationship with each other than, for instance, any political figure in the actual space. And this community is what matters. It's the whole point of the game. Building a community, having your friends around, talking to them, expressing yourself.
I mean, there's a saying that maybe doesn't apply, but it goes, blood is thicker than water. And if you take blood as in your love for the hobby, then when you're in the hobby and you're in the space that you enjoy, then, don't be an asshole. Don't be a prick. Don't judge. Just enjoy, embrace, and just listen and be considerate. I mean,
like speaking of somebody who has been canceled, but he has a very wise point of view, Sam Harris. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Remind me, Sam
Harris? It's in one of those new atheists. He has been kind of...
Wait, what's Falcon's name?
Falcon?
Yeah, the character Falcon from Marvel.
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't that Sam Harris?
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, Sam Harris is like a philosopher, but he said, I've never convinced anybody in a live debate.
Yeah.
So that's also the same thing. Even if you see something in public and you get it, be generous, be gentle, let people, in time, maybe they'll change your point of view, or you'd just slightly change both of your points of view. And that's what matters. It's not centrist bullshit to say that. It's, even for us leftists, that's the way dialectics work. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So even it's Hegelian, man. For our more, everybody's just nodding along.
Just learn to listen to people.
Yeah, and chill a little bit. And listen to them, be generous, and build a community. The community that matters is the ones around the table, even if your table is virtual.
All right.
So, yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening. And give us your comments. I mean, we're going to do the outro, but just, leave us peacefully.
Yeah.
Pleasantly. Or be an asshole, I don't care. Let us know what you think. Do you guys want Musk to buy Hasbro? Do you think it's the end of the world?
What would you do? Would you play by rules made by the team led by Musk?
Are you going to let the corporation dictate and determine how you enjoy your game?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do?
Yeah. All right, thanks.
So that's the end of the video. If you haven't already, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And please Feel free to leave us your comments, suggestions, and questions below.
Also, follow us on our other social media like Instagram and TikTok, and join us on the Discord channel over on the Indie Hobby server. Links in the description.
And as always, remember to rage responsibly. We'll see you in the next episode.
Roll the dice!